Hello there, welcome back to another video. So today I have this jelly gouache palette that I found from Five Below. It has 12 different colors in it and it looks very similar to the Hime gouache palette that a lot of people have. And then I also found these nylon paint brushes, which I thought were really pretty because of the clear barrel on them, and I just wanted to try them out. So each item was $5. I started off by swatching them and they kind of had like a weird consistency. Like gouache normally is supposed to be very like thick and opaque, and there was a lot of these colors that were kind of streaky, especially like the lighter colors. I noticed a lot, like this peach right here is very streaky, and I did use it like right out of the container, so I'm not really sure why the consistency was like that. And I also noticed that when I was cleaning off the brushes in the water, that there was a lot of like flakes coming off of the brush, like paint flakes. So I don't really know if it's something within like the consistency of the paint itself, or like how it's made, but it definitely performed differently than other gouache that I've used in the past, including like the Hime gouache palette I did a review of a long time ago, and I've also used Arteza gouache and Hollenbein gouache, and this one in particular behaved very, very differently from those other brands that I mentioned previously. Also, again, you can see how streaky it is, and yeah, I don't really know why it was like that. This doesn't really have like a brand name or anything. I feel like everything from Five Below just kind of like comes from whatever. So it was definitely hard and challenging to work with. So I did struggle with these pieces a lot. So I just decided to draw some Sailor Moon fan art. So on the left we have Sailor Venus, and on the right we have Sailor Moon, and those are my two favorite girls. So I just wanted to include them in this. And then you'll see on the top that it is like going to be a Sailor Moon-esque kind of landscape type of thing. I didn't have a reference for anything because my my computer died and my iPad died, and I was using my phone to record, so I didn't have anything to reference off of, so I just kind of had to do things from memory. And again, very streaky with the paint, and I don't know why. I'm going to assume it's from the consistency of the paint, just being of lower quality, because I know with the Hime gouache palette, that palette is normally like $20, I believe, $20 USD, and then this palette was $5, so obviously the quality is not going to be like the greatest or on par with the more expensive brands. So yeah, I definitely struggled with this piece a lot. I think without the editing and everything, this took me about like a little over 2 hours. I was struggling quite a bit with it, and I was trying my best, but it was just the paint itself was really hard to work with, and I don't want to say it's user error because I've used gouache in the past, so I really feel like it's just the like consistency and like how it's made that was kind of the issue here. But I did try my best to kind of salvage everything. In the end it came out very cute, but it was definitely a struggle, and I feel like that's something that you shouldn't have to do with art supplies. I feel like they should just like, you know, work with you and not against you. So that was something that I kind of like took into consideration when doing this review. And yeah, just a lot of back and forth, a lot of trying to just play with it and see like what I could use it for and what I could manipulate to the best of my ability. And yeah, I gotta I gotta be honest, I really wanted to like this palette. I really thought it would be like my new favorite thing, because it's affordable and it's cute, and I liked that. I don't know if I showed you guys because I cut out the video footage of me taking off the plastic seals on them because they were just so hard to get off. But they do come with like little plastic lids for the individual paints, which I think is really nice. I don't know why the other companies haven't thought of that, because jelly gouache does dry out really easily. So I liked that, and I liked that the, you know, container was really cute and it was just like very like aesthetically pleasing, but the paint itself is just hard to work with. It's not like a true gouache, and I think that's what is hard about this, because it was something that I really wanted to like, but then I couldn't because it just wasn't working well. So with that being said, I don't really know if I can recommend this because it's cheap, but you're kind of getting what you pay for. So it's not, it doesn't give you like the true experience of using gouache, and gouache is like one of my favorite mediums. So I don't think I can recommend this to anyone. It was hard to use, even with someone that, you know, has experience working with gouache like I do. So I'm gonna have to give this like a 1 out of 5 stars, just because it was so hard to work with, and I really wanted to like it. And I'm really sorry if it sounds like a negative review, but I'm just being honest, and I just want people to know like what is actually worth their money and what they should be actually buying. And there's certain things that you just can't skip out on, and I feel like having bad paint is just like a recipe for disaster, unfortunately. So that's where I'm at with it. And yeah, I'm sorry. I tried to like it. It wasn't for me, and I don't know. It was a struggle. I would definitely recommend like getting like the Hime gouache palette if you want to try the jelly gouache, or maybe try getting the Arteza gouache that comes in the tube. That's really nice, because if it's in the tube, then it, you know, doesn't really dry out. You just put it in a palette when you're ready to use it. So I would definitely recommend those brands over these. And the hole and bind gouache is really nice, especially the acrylic gouache. The only thing is the acrylic gouache, it dries very quickly and you can't reactivate it. But the hole and bind gouache is like very, very nice quality. Like the paint is very like velvety and smooth and very like consistent throughout. And yeah, I like that one a lot. But if you're just starting out, I would try to get one of those other two, the Hime or the Arteza. And Arteza has good deals. They normally have they had like a giant pack of like 60 of them for a reasonable price, or you can get like a smaller set, like a 12 set. The Hime gouache, I think it's like 15 or 20 cups or something like that. It's bigger than the palette I have here. The palette I have here is like a little mini palette. So in order to save this drawing, I had to bust out some other supplies, and that was another reason why I don't really recommend these paints from Five Below, is because I feel like when you need to bust out other supplies to kind of save and salvage a drawing, that's not really good for the medium that you were supposed to be using in the first place. So I used let me grab it. It is the Prim Rosea extra fine acrylic pens, and that is what I'm using to outline this piece. And I'm using the purple to kind of tie into the landscape on top. I didn't want to use black just because it's very like daunting and kind of like a little bit of an eyesore in my opinion. I like to use bright colors, and I feel like using black to outline things is just like not my thing anymore. If it's like for just like an ink piece or like an all black and white drawing, that's one thing. But if it's for like a colored piece, I like to keep it kind of bright and cheerful, so that's why I opted to use the dark purple. And so I'm just adding in some details with that. And then I also have the other colors for these acrylic pens, and I use some white to give some shines and details on this, so that way it wasn't so dead looking. So you see me add it in like her little gems in her hair, and just kind of like trying to fix things up here and there. And it was definitely a struggle, and I was recording so long on this on my phone that when I was done, my phone was at 1%. So that shows you how long this took me and how like long it took me to kind of like salvage this drawing. So it was definitely an experience. It wasn't like the most enjoyable process because I was like fighting with the medium the whole time. So that's another reason why I don't really recommend these, because I feel like when you draw and paint, it should be like an enjoyable process. Like even if I don't necessarily like the art, if I liked doing it and I liked the feeling of, you know, just going through the process and how I was feeling during the process, I feel like that makes it more worth it. But this one I just had to keep fighting with it, and it just wasn't fun for me. So yeah, here I am adding some more details, adding in little pink windows to the buildings. And again, I didn't have a reference, so I was just kind of just winging it. But it does come out in the end, and I managed to salvage it the best I could. And if you're wondering, this sketchbook is the Strathmore Mixed Media Sketchbook. It is, I think, the 500 series, and it has really nice paper. It's really thick, and it can use you can use a bunch of different media. So I've been using like paint in it, like this, like gouache, acrylic paint. I've been using colored pencils, markers, and yeah, it's been really fun. So I've just been using this one for more like bigger spreads, and then my moleskin is like for kind of like my smaller drawings. But I definitely love this sketchbook just to kind of like explore and draw in. It's one of those things that I have been trying to do more of, is just being more loose with my art. And here is the paint peel. I always like to include that just so that it's like a little nice eye-catching type of thing. It's always very satisfying peeling it up. That's one of my favorite things to do. I like the crisp edge. It's very nice. But yeah, it was a struggle. So if you're wondering if you should get these paints from Five Below, I would say no, unless you want to fight with it, but that's up to you. I hope you like the art, and I hope you like the drawing, and I will see you next time. Bye!